What's up again, my brother Tony? Good to see you. We are here on another Wednesday for another lunch and learn. How you doing today, man?
Good. How about you, man?
I am doing good. I believe I have a pretty good topic for us because it's fresh off the pressers, and so I didn't even tell you. So
No, you did not.
yeah, so I will bring it to you, and then get your reaction, and then we go from there. But before we get there, you had to let me know what you eat today for this lunch
Oh
and learn.
man, I'm bad today. I've not eaten anything. I had like a handful of almonds, um, like 10 minutes ago. So I'm not on my good eating game. So I'm fueled on like caffeine and a handful of almonds right now. So how about
Okay,
you,
okay,
man?
okay. Well, I still have coffee from earlier. Don't ask me why my top is not on. Um, well, I'm glad you asked because my kids put my top in the dishwasher, and the ring that's supposed to stop the liquids from coming when you put the top on is not there. So whenever I go to drink from my lid, yeah, it comes down. So I have to drink it like it's a regular cup right now. So yeah, not cool.
No,
Not cool.
no,
And so this
I'm not
was
upgrade.
this
I'm
is
not
my
upgrade.
eateries.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that's what I've been snacking on. I haven't eaten yet, but I bought those with a just in case to hold me over
Mm-hmm.
until I get something to eat. So I keep those right here, and I snack on them, man.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But you know the crazy thing about it is that I just thought about this when I just showed you this. I don't eat venison, that whole
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Sure.
but I'm like, this probably in the same family. You know, like almost the same type of stuff, but I eat that.
Sure.
I don't
Beef.
know.
Beef's different. That's jerky.
Hmm,
But
same.
I eat venison and beef jerky. I mean, shoot, you were here in my office last week, and I was like, dude, you need some jerky for the road.
You did. That's cool, and I appreciated it. That definitely helped me over for my hour long drive. So, but it worked out.
we are not. We are not here to provide excellent health advice because
Yes,
yeah, we're both not. That's just we're not eating balanced diets
and it's
necessarily.
not my lane. That's not my lane. So, what I will tell you is to get moving, get fit. You know, however you have to. So,
Yep.
so let's tap into it for our lunch and learn today. So, what I wanted to bring out is, I went through a training with you guys that you guys offered. The What up, Wally? Main event, my man. What's up, man? Good to see you. I told you I gotta have you on, man. I'm gonna reach out and we gonna have you on, man. I definitely want to talk to you and chop it up, brother. But yeah, Tone, I appreciate you guys at the FOC opening up this door opportunity, not only to me as a community partner, right, to sharpen my skills of communicating with clients, but which is super dope, man, is that you guys have trained so many individuals within you guys' agency on this motivational interviewing technique and skill with the sole purpose of better serving your clients. And that's you guys made an investment in that, and that's commendable, man. That's super dope. And so I just wanted to, if I didn't say, acknowledge you and Amy out there in these streets of making it happen, man. I wanted to let you know that we appreciated it. But one of the things, man, is that I had an opportunity to utilize it today, right? And so, we launched our domestic violence work.
Right.
And one of the things, I have a unique client today. And this gentleman is from out of state. not here. The agency, the state who is providing this service to this man, where he lived is predominantly white, right? Where he doesn't have a lot of individuals that look like him, and he was struggling going through the classes. And the facilitator made the decisions like, listen, we want to make sure that this man is being provided with the best resources and is part of a group that look like him, right? And I was kind of, I was thrown back by that, because that they really sought me out. It's like, listen, I see the work that you guys do, and we would rather allow him the opportunity to receive the resources, right? And they're going to pay for it, right? But, asking, do we have a virtual option so we can provide this guy these services? And Tony, like, this is legit. He is definitely guilty, definitely, have been abusive towards his child's mom, right? And so I say all of that to bringing up the point of this motivational interviewing. So I had the opportunity to talk to him today. And bro, I did not get 10 words out before I seen heard his rage, heard everything, right? And so I have an intern here, and with the intern being here, it was a great opportunity for her to see this stuff in action. Chuck is still learning how to work with men who batter and all of that type of stuff. And so I had him on a speakerphone, and both of them was blown away on what was taking place. And it was powerful and all at the same time, because they got to see it in action. But my man was so angry. He was banging on his table. I assume it was a table. It sounded like a table. Mm-hmm. But he was just like, these white people, they don't understand. And, he just going off on a tangent, about the injustice from where he lived. And at that moment, instead of me getting caught up and taking it personal, because there was times when he was grouping my agency in with their agency there in that one state, I didn't take it personal, right? Because one of the things that I had to do, and this is for if you're working with clients out there, right, that are angry, I could have easily took it personal that he was attacking me, but I knew it wasn't me. I knew it was bigger than me. And I want to pause after I make this last statement, of like some of the things that you guys do, because you get people who come in who's extremely angry that they don't like their child support order. They deem that Michigan is a woman's state as it relates to men, the whole nine. So how you guys handle it. But this was one of the things is that I was listening for things that was important to him. And the main thing that was important to him is that he wanted access to his kids. That's all he wanted, was access to his kids. And one of the things I had to point out to the intern and Chuck was this, is that I said a lot of people would miss what he was saying through all of the rage. He said something that was key, man. And what he said, bro, was this. He said, when I was a kid, my mom had 8 kids, and they came in and they said for the betterment of the children, right? They said for the betterment of the children. And so they took him out of the family. And so now here he's a grown man, and he said now they come in here and they take my child, and they say betterment for the child. You can miss that, where here's this man that's reliving this trauma all over again, where he was a victim once of where he was the child being taken from the family, and now he's the man who has the child and the child being taken. And so my thing is, how do you manage that? And I had to show them how you manage that and how to help him in that moment. So I just want to throw that before I tell you what I did. But I'm just curious, man, of when you are dealing with hostile, not even hostile, but people that are upset and angry because the system has done them wrong. How do you guys navigate that over there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
so I
mean,
mean,
there's a
there's a
lot
lot
of
of
tactics
tactics
that
that
we've
we've
been
been
using
using
well
well
before the
before the
motivational
motivational
interviewing
interviewing
training.
training.
But
But
then I
then I
think
think
one of the
one of the
things that
things
the
that the
motivational
motivational
interviewing
interviewing
training
training
did
did
was
was
it
it
gave
gave
us
us
some
some
language
language
and
and
maybe
maybe
some
some
additional
additional
skills that
skills that
maybe we
maybe we
weren't
weren't
using
using
before,
before,
right?
right?
So
So
some of the
some of the
stuff might
stuff
have
might
been
have been
stuff we've
stuff
been
we've been
doing for
doing
a
for a
minute,
minute,
but
but
some of
some
it
of it
is
is
stuff
stuff
that
that
we
we
really
really
developed these
developed these
additional
additional
skills.
skills.
One of
One
those
of those
things is
things is
just
just
letting
letting
people
people
tell their
tell their
story,
story,
right?
right?
So
So
everybody
everybody
comes
comes
in
in
with a
with a
story.
story.
Now, the
Now, the
emotional
emotional
aspect of
aspect
it
of it
might be
might be
the
the
piece
piece
that if
that if
you
you
are
are
not
not
experienced in
experienced
the
in the
space
space
or you're
or you're
not
not
prepared for
prepared for
what's
what's
coming
coming
in
in
this
this
space,
space,
maybe
maybe
all you
all you
hear is
hear is
the
the
emotional
emotional
piece.
piece.
But
But
if
if
you
you
get to
get
the
to the
story,
story,
that's
that's
where
where
then you
then you
get
get
to
to
start
start
hearing
hearing
about
about
what
what
is
is
actually
actually
going
going
on
on
there,
there.
and that
And that
means
means
asking
asking
questions.
questions.
Person is saying or wants or those sorts of things, we get off on the wrong road. By letting someone tell their story, you got to hear a whole lot more about that person than probably somebody who would have made assumptions about that individual, right? Instead of me just assuming that somebody who comes in with this sort of background or this history is this type of person. Well, no, let me hear more about the story, right? Let me hear what your story is. And, you know, what are your motivations, and what are those how do those motivations tie with what goals we have too, right? As that you're trying, what goals you're trying to achieve, and does that blend with the goals that we're trying to achieve? And more often than not, in this space when we're working with families, there is a connect, right? There is like, I want more time with my child, or I want this thing to be better with my child, or even with my ex. And there we go. That's the thing that is important to me that I want to have happen. Well, guess what? We want this, if we're looking for that same goal a lot of times.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, right? I came in earlier today, and one of the people at work here, they said, Sean, I just need to know, how do you want me to handle these situations when I have told the individual, what our process is, and they are upset because they don't like what has transpired, right? When they thought one thing was going to happen, they're upset. And I said, number one is this, is that involved dad, what we establish our credibility and how we establish the work that we do, customer service is number one, right? When you are dealing with people, when they come to us, like if they are going to come to us as an agency, bro, they at their wits end. They're not coming to us like, hey, I can't wait till I get there. Somebody will refer to them and say, yo, you tried all that you can try, go to Involved Dad. And so
Right.
my thing is, when they come to us, we want them to come to a place that's safe, right? And that they're gonna hear somebody, that somebody's gonna hear them out, right? Still with accountability, right? And not even accountability, but somebody that's going to be real with them. And so I had to reiterate to her, it's like, yo, listen, I get it that people gonna be upset. People may talk out the side of their neck, the whole nine. But we want to always try to understand where that person is coming from, right? And if I can understand where they're coming from and getting to understand what their issue is, and just trying to find out like what they are what pain are they trying to get relief from. If it's all I want to do is get access to my child, then that can be the part that we help that person focus on, because that's the main thing, right? And so I was just telling her, it's like, yo, we gotta help. We gotta, number one, when people come to us, yo, we gotta serve.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, we didn't build what we have here by not serving,
Right.
and that has to be the number one thing to serve. And so this dude, if you hearing him on the phone, but I get it, right? And so my thing was, him putting his hands on that woman, bro, we gonna deal with that. That is flat out wrong. We gonna deal with that.
Sure.
But I still wanted to understand, like, yo, why is he so mad? Why is he
Mm-hmm.
so angry? It's a
Mm-hmm.
reason. Why is he that mad? And so when I just a little talk of peeling back those layers, I'm like, yo, this is a grown man who I don't know what took place when he was in the system. He was
Right.
taken from his mother, and he said, "My son, keep on saying, when am I gonna come home? When am I gonna come home?" Right? And then
Mm-hmm.
that's when he started getting angry. Even
Mm-hmm.
more mad. And the worst thing I could have said was, "Calm down."
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So my thing was like, I need to allow this man to vent. I need to allow this man to talk. I need him, to communicate so I'll know how we can navigate the process. Right. And because I gave him that space, when we got off the phone, he was calmed down. Right. We were able to talk next steps. But my thing was, man, of dealing with men like that, a lot of times we don't know what is behind the curtain. We don't know what is under the hood that can influence certain behaviors. We don't justify them,
Right.
but the more I can understand, the better I can get to the root of where this stuff is coming from. And so, my man, I mean, so now I have something to work with, Tony. Is that where this childhood trauma has he been given the opportunity to deal with that childhood trauma? Was he,
Right.
let's keep it 100, was he sexually assaulted?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is this his way, of cussing and, trying to be this big bad? What are you trying to keep me away from, bruh? Who do you
Right.
not want me to really see? What are you hiding from? Or what are you hiding?
Yeah.
So in that motivation interviewing technique, man, that I learned from you guys, I was able to use some of those skills on top of what I already had to help
Mm-hmm.
resolve the situation. Because in times past, if I didn't deal with me, bro, I would have took that personal, and we'd have both been arguing on the phone like, yo, I don't need you. You came to me. Right? I could
Yeah.
have easily said that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a process, right? It's such a process to go from being able to separate yourself from that experience of somebody coming in and saying, and I'll speak for myself personally, being in this space where you know people will be like, the system, you guys have like messed up my life, have screwed up my family, have you favor the mom or whatever that sort of thing is. And from working with me how hard we work to kind of overcome some of our history and stuff like that we may have. And it is easy on a bad day to be able to take that and take it personal, like, man, I'm trying so hard and you're not seeing it, whatever. But I think so that's certainly one piece of it, that we all have to be humans in the process, on both sides of the desk and stuff like that. But I think the thing that we see so much, and you and I've talked about it before on here even, is the armor that people carry.
Yeah.
And when somebody comes into a space where they believe everybody thinks I'm a batterer, everybody thinks I'm a bad man, or everybody thinks that every coming into our office, you think I'm a bad parent because I'm not paying my support, or I'm not engaged with my kid's life, or whatever that sort of story people are telling themselves, which isn't really the story, right? But
Yes.
that's the
That's
story
what
that we tell ourselves. And then we put armor on so that we're prepared to go to battle when we come into that office and we come into that space, your space, my space, whatever space. And that armor, maybe the other person on the other side of that table, that desk, that counter has also put on some armor today, because they needed to armor up too, and we're all protecting something with that armor. Maybe it is that little 5-year-old in us who experienced trauma. Maybe it's the person who just was experienced trauma earlier today because they were
yes.
screamed at by somebody else, and so they're armoring up for that reason. um, I think that we in that armor, we put it on because it served us at some point. It did us pretty well,
Yeah.
to be armored up in some situation to shield ourselves from something bad. But then because we used it one time and it was useful, we just said, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use that all the time. That
Yeah.
worked great that one time. So then I just going to use it all the time. So I do think that that comes up. One last thing that I wanted to say about your story that I thought was so key, and for people who are not familiar with motivational interviewing, I think we kind of are skirting the edges of it because there's some really great content out there, and we just don't have the time to dig into all the stuff on it. But one of the things that motivational interviewing does is you and I, neither one of us are psychologists. Neither one of us are experts in child psychology or adult psychology, and I'm not. That's not
Yep.
a bad thing, right? That's not our lane, as you uh, so aptly always put. But what motivational interviewing does is you don't need to be the expert in anything because the expert is the person you are talking to,
Say that
right?
again. Who's the
The
expert?
expert is the person you are talking to. That in your situation where you're talking to this dad, he is the expert in his own life. You don't need to be the expert in anything to hear out the thing that he is the expert in, which is his own life, his
Yep.
own lived experience, his own reasons why he does distrust the system or distrust the government. He is the expert in that, right? You don't have to be a child psychologist, right, to be able to let somebody tell their story and be the expert of their own life. In our space, that means that the experts, the people who know the best thing for their family, a lot of times, the parents,
That's
right? And so we need to let them tell their version of their story because they are the experts of their own life, and we don't have to be the experts in every single situation. And that's one of the beauties of motivational interviewing, whether you work in your space, my space, or a different space, substance abuse or some substance use or something along those lines. It doesn't matter what space you in, you do not need to be the expert in everything because that person's an expert in their own story.
Yeah. No, that's really good, man. And I think that we can use that in our own lives at home, right?
Mm.
Of becoming better at listening uh, to individuals. Like, why do they feel that way? Right? Where's that thinking coming from? And I'm still learning and growing with my oldest daughter. Right? Like
Yeah.
some things that she say and do, I'm just like, man, why does she get it from her mama? That's the easy thing for me to say. I'm like, man, she get that from her mama, right? But I do catch myself like, okay, Sean, what can you do to get to better understand what she is feeling? Why does she
Mhm.
feel that way?
Yeah.
Right? Like why? And
Yeah.
so it is not my job to dictate and say, oh, you need to get over it, or my thing is like, yo, how can I best support you? And a lot of times, just keep it, 100. It's easy for me to get frustrated with my own kids, right? Because I'm used to being around them. With the people closest to us, we have the less patience most of the
Hmm.
time. You know what I mean? Like out in the community, they just like, oh, he's so patient. When you're at the crib, they like, he ain't so patient. You know what I mean? So it's
Yep.
always work in progress, man. But that's my thing, for our listeners today, man. Like honestly, is just learning how to better communicate, right? And I had to sit back and listen to my man. It's like, okay, I don't have to win this whole battle. I don't have
Hmm.
to win it, right? What does
Hmm.
he need?
Yeah.
Who does he need me to be in this moment? Right
Yeah.
now? And I told him, he was like, man, we got to meet 27 sessions. I was already in 4, I already completed 5. And I said, guess what? I said, because the other agency you went through, we have the same content, right? I'll talk to that individual. So those 4 or 5 that you went, you didn't miss, right?
Hmm.
Right? So now that de escalates. Like,
Hmm.
as long as it's the same thing, you still got those. But I said, guess what? Today is another session. Because it definitely was. Because
Yeah.
what I tell people all the time, man, that work in our spaces of dealing with people, is like, bro, you want people that are extremely compliant, people that don't ever show any type of issues, people that don't show any emotion. All you getting is compliance, right?
Hmm.
So my thing is like, how do you really get transformation if you never get an opportunity to see under the hood or see what people in the community see. Because when they
Sure.
come to you, they're gonna be on their best behavior. So now
Mm-hmm.
I got an opportunity to see who his girlfriend sees at home. I got a fragment of that. I
Mm-hmm.
see, well, I can hear what he's
Yeah.
capable.
Yeah.
So now he can no longer tell me, he can't use, like, I don't get upset, I don't do, or no, you already showed me some
Sure.
of
Yeah.
that. So I can use that, right? Not against you, but I can use it for you and
Mm-hmm.
help you connect the dots. Remember when you were introduced to me for the first time? Remember when change took place? Do you remember how that change, how you approached it? Right? Not that it was wrong, but I want you to
Mm-hmm.
see.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking? What was going through your head when you was in a new situation? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can get him to start making those connections. See, I'm giving some free game out here. What I do, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Well,
nah,
so
I can't tell y'all my stuff.
all the secrets. Well, so
Yep.
like one of the things, like so you don't give out any more of your
No, I'm
gems.
just joking. I'm just
Okay.
joking. No, I give
I
out
know.
whatever. I'm just joking. I
No,
give out
no.
whatever.
So I like so one of the things that you talked about there, which I think is so key with the motivational interviewing discussion, and which is the and you talk about when we work in this space, when we work out in the community, when we work with people in the public, and also when we work in like spaces the like we do, there's a fixing reflex, right?
Uh,
There's the oh, you came to me because I'm the advice giver. I know all of the answers. That's why you came to me, because you came to me so that I can tell you what to do, right? And so there's this sort of this fixing reflex where when somebody comes in, we want to be like, oh, well, I know the thing that's broken. Let me tell you how to fix it, right? That's not how change happens. Change doesn't happen because somebody told you that you needed what you needed to do, right? It happens when you're ready for that change to happen, right? And for when you want to make those changes. It's not because that somebody's never been told, right? For the dad that you worked with today, it is not that he's never been told that violence is not the answer,
yep.
right? That if you were just like, oh, well, I got the answer for you. Let me show you the what you're not supposed to do. Nothing happens. Nothing changes, right? The change happens when the person is ready to change, when they want to take the steps, and when they do take the steps, not when you tell them that it's time to take the steps. And that's the big difference here, is that we're not in a situation where we're trying to get compliance, where we're trying to put power over people. We're trying to give people the power so that they can make the right decisions, so that they can make the changes that are going to be long lasting, not just because you have to do 27 sessions and that's why you're going to do this, but because you're going to benefit. And that is why you are going to make these
Yep.
changes. It's going to be good for you, not because I told you this, that, and you came to me and I fixed it.
Yeah.
That's not how things work.
That's good, man. That's fact, man. And I love. I had to put it in a comment section, that fix and reflex. Yeah, and I'm quite sure most of us are guilty with that. That fix and reflex, man. I can't tell you how many times Leah told me I didn't need you to give me the answer. I just needed you to listen, bruh.
Yep.
I,
Well, like you said, I use motivational interviewing more with my kid than I do any other place,
wow.
because it is one of those things where it's I think he always wants me to fix something, because that's what I'm there for. I'm there to solve all of his problems, and that he's not asking me to solve all his problems. He wants to solve them too, right? He wants to take care of his own issues, even though he's little. All of us want that autonomy to be able to solve our own problems,
That's,
and we need to give our kids and the people we work with and our spouses, everybody wants to be able to solve their own stuff. They're not looking for somebody to solve all of their problems for
that's
them.
good, man.
Nobody is.
That's good, man. No, Tone, that's good, man. That's good. So, yeah, man, in closing for today, man, um, I think we have some tools that we can at least begin to start with, right? As it relates to communicate and de-escalating individuals, that come to you with some heavy conflict and they're angry. Just because they're angry, and let me tell this to you as in the audience, right? Uh, Especially with black males and sometimes even with black females, that we can be very emotional people when we talk, very animated. So just because I'm raising my voice doesn't mean that I'm angry and I'm going to shift to being aggressive. My own wife would tell me, she's like, Sean, your energy is telling me one thing. And I'm like, man, that's not what I'm giving off, but I can be passionate about what I believe and what I'm doing. And sometimes it can be taken as threatening, right? And so I just want to inform the audience, man, that especially when you're working with black men, is that we can, just because they throw a few MFs out there, and that's not how I handle mine, right? But that individual may not know anything else to say in that moment, but using that term, right? And if we focus on what they're saying rather than what, if we focus on like what they are saying rather than what they are like trying to say, what are they trying to communicate? If we could only see the layers and what they're presenting, we are not going to get very far. We have to try to listen, right, and really hear what they're trying to communicate, so we can help them solve their problem. Right? I'm just angry. I'm just pissed. I don't know what to do. I don't know how else to answer this. Just give me that moment, right? Give the individual that moment, um, before you shut them out because the way that they are giving that information. And like I said, man, I could have easily hung up on the dude or whatever. Like, yo, you need my services. You want to see your kids, right? But my
Mhm.
thing was like, yo, I know he's passionate. Why is he angry? He just not. He don't even know me. So
Mhm.
for him to be angry like that, yo, what did he experience? What did
Yeah.
he experience? He lives in a community where there's less than 1% of people that look like him, right? And so that may be something that's hard for him to navigate. I don't know. But I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. I always try to understand where the other individuals are coming from. And where I learned that is working in the prison. That's where I
Mhm.
learned that exercise that muscle.
It's
Because I
so
went in
it's
as a Christian,
that's so
right?
key. So
Yeah,
key.
it is.
Empathy. Also the just the cultural competency thing that you're kind of like getting at there too is just so key. If you assume everybody responds to bad news in the exact same way you respond to bad news, you're going to be very disappointed
Absolutely.
because that's not actually how your interactions with the public are going to be or with anyone's going to be. If you just assume that everybody's going to respond the same way you do, you're going to be very disappointed, and it's going to be very challenging in a space where you're there to serve. And no, I think that's so key is as much as we can to do anything with cultural competency, empathy, all of that sort of stuff is so key.
Yo, I appreciate it, Tom. Let's continue to get this work, man. Let's continue to get this work. All right. Until next time, man. We see you guys in about 2 weeks, man, for another lunch and learn with your boys Sean and Tone, involved dad, Genesee County FOC. Let's get it.
Thank you.